Well, welcome to day number 7. Got my book. You can see it's a little dark outside, so a little longer today. It was a Sunday. We had a lot of stuff going on, but day 7 is one of my favorites because I love the story in the opening of the chapter. Put on Waiters is the chapter title. And of all the stories in this book, this is probably the one that sticks out to me the longest. After I've read it, I just continually think about it. It's a story in the beginning about a drought in Mississippi, and these local farmers come together because their crops are in jeopardy to have a prayer meeting, an emergency prayer meeting. And most of the farmers are in their traditional overalls, but one farmer wore waders. And man, did he get some funny looks. But he said, hey, when I leave here, I'll be the dry one. Everybody else went home wet because God sent rain, but he had that waiter kind of faith to show up knowing he was going to leave in the rain. I love that story. Well, to start us off today, I want to jump into the book of Joshua. It's mentioned here, but I went back and spent a little time in it this morning, and I want to read just a few verses to you. I want to start in verse 5. It says, Joshua told the people, consecrate yourself, because the Lord will do wonders among you tomorrow. Then he said to the priests, carry the Ark of the Covenant and go ahead of the people. So they carried the Ark of the Covenant and went ahead of them. The Lord spoke to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel. So they will know that I will be with you, just as I was with Moses. I love that. Command the priests to carry the Ark of the Covenant. When you reach the edge of the water, stand in the Jordan. Very important word. It doesn't say stop before the Jordan. It says stand in the Jordan. The cool part about this miracle is the priest had to get their feet wet. They had to step in to the water. And then verse 17 says, the priest carrying the Ark of the Lord's covenant stood firmly on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan, because when they got their feet wet, the water of the Jordan stopped up, allowing all of Israel to cross on dry ground all the way across what was standing in between them and the promise of God. It's all that stood in the way was the Jordan River. And when the priest stepped in with the Ark of the Covenant, the water split and they all got to walk across. And so I kept thinking about that today. We've got to get our feet wet. On page 49, it says, we want God to go first. That way we don't need to exercise any faith at all. But we've got it backwards. If we want to see God move, we need to make a move. We got to make a move. How many times do we hesitate because we're not quite sure if it's all going to work out, or we're not quite sure if that's what we should do next? So we don't get started. I wrote in the margin, when we start working, God starts working. He's just waiting. He's waiting for us to take a step. And then he comes in and does what only he can do. But we've got to get started. So the question that I have for you is, what does the next step look like? When you look over the things you're praying for, looked over my list this morning, what does the next step look like? What does getting my feet wet look like? I see here there's some emails that I could send. There's some people I could reach out to. There's some things that I could take action on. There are some steps that I can take to get started. On page 50, it says, there's an old adage, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Based on my experience, the first step is always the hardest step and the longest step. It will require the most faith. So I would just encourage you to take a look at, what does that first step look like? What do you need to do to get your feet wet? That's what I've been thinking about all day. I hope that helps. That was day 7. I'll see you tomorrow.